Liverpool have started life under Arne Slot with two brilliant 2-0 wins to start off the campaign. While a lot of players have played well, Trent Alexander-Arnold has really been flourishing in this new system, which finally allows him to play to the best of his ability. In this video, we're going to go through how his new manager has made this system better for him and why he is now the main focal point within the team. So let's get into it. While Trent Alexander-Arnold has been in the news for not being happy recently, you can't argue with his performances on the pitch. When Arne Slot came in, it was known to be a lot of emphasis on his right back position, giving him a lot of the ball and even more control of the game, which was always going to benefit Trent in the long run. Arne Slot always prioritises players inverting from the fullback position, and usually in its teams it has been his right back who has done it. Against Brentford, we saw that Trent did this inverting role, which has been touted for him for a while now, and he actually sat next to Gravenberch, who was the deepest of the midfield. Brentford tried to counter Liverpool when they had the ball by having a box situation going forward and having a lot of players close together so they would move around to where the ball is. Because Liverpool are a very quick transitional team and are very good at getting the ball into key areas very easily from long balls from one of their defenders or even Trent, Brentford overall did well, but they struggled to get to Liverpool until Liverpool got into the final third. This gave Trent a lot of space around the right side of the pitch where he could even run down the channel or put the ball through for one of the midfielders or the wingers. And because they kept doing this a lot often, especially in the first half, Trent was picking up positions down the right hand side where he had so much space he could do a through ball to some progressive runners such as Szoboszlai or even Salah, who had peeled out wide because Brentford wanted to keep their compact situation and their front four in that box formation that we spoke about. Now this kept happening a lot, so Brentford had their focus more on that left hand side for them being where Trent is on the right rather than the other side, because Trent is the best passer of the pitch and you don't really want him having much influence as possible. However, what this meant is when Trent went a bit deeper to pick the ball up and Brentford maybe pressed him, he was able to do cross-field balls brilliantly to someone like Diogo Jota, who kept coming deeper to pick up the ball while some of the midfielders progressed, because Gravenberch was the one that really sat deeper, and when Trent had the ball he'd go forward as well anyway. But this also changed a lot in the first half, because at some points Brentford had a very narrow pressing system where they had their three attackers try and press or at least block the passes into the midfield where Gravenberch wanted it and try and stop the progression going through the middle. This allowed progression to go out wide, and Trent picked up some very smart positions going in on that right hand side into the half space, which gave Salah that space out wide that he wants to be able to get the chances to go one-on-one if he can get the ball through. And it also allowed Trent to move more into the central areas in the attack and third if Liverpool can get it up. And the reason why Liverpool was still able to consistently create chances is because they have people like Gravenberch, who is in that deeper role for them, who is able to turn and pick up the ball and spread it out wide anyway, despite them trying to block the passing lanes. It's something he's very good at and it helped a lot. Now with the inclusion of Jota coming back into midfield, while also all of the midfielders such as McAllister and Gravenberch being a bit more fluid in their roles, some of them going a bit deeper and then a bit more attacking. You usually saw Gravenberch be a bit more deeper overall, but they didn't mind changing it up within the game state. Obviously Szoboszlai as well would go out wide to help the team. He clearly had support for Trent. Now we saw when Klopp was there a little bit where Trent would push up into that right hand side and sometimes you'd get Szoboszlai to go back and cover for him, and this time sometimes you still got him to cover, but they actually gave Trent the ball a lot more. And because Brentford were quite passive, they kind of had to be quite passive with how aggressive Liverpool can be and they could play through you if they overcommitted too much. Trent's ability to be able to do these incredible passes from deep over to Salah over and over again were just undefendable against, and his progressive passes throughout this game were astonishing, having around 6.5 in just this game alone, helping his team attack, which is an incredible amount. And now a lot of credit for some of the attacking things that Trent was allowed to do have to also go to the team. There's clearly an instruction with Arne Slot where a lot of players just get into the box and just make attacking runs at all times. It doesn't even matter necessarily what position or role you're supposed to have at the start, just make the smart runs, because if a man is man to man with you, then they're going to cause gaps behind them. And this is something that happened quite a few times where Liverpool would progress the ball quickly down the left this time and Robertson will be making overlaps or be getting in the box. But while you've got Jota and Szoboszlai, obviously the attacking players in there, you've also got people like McAllister and Gravenberch who sit outside the box, and people like Salah or whoever the other winger is, if it's Diaz, if Salah has it, will come into central areas. This happened a lot where there'd be a pullback and maybe Diaz would be there, but this also happened when Diaz had the ball from deep and Salah would get into them key places in the box in central areas. This meant that Brentford had to target other areas and to defend, and this means that most likely they would go towards the ball, giving space to Trent in this one moment where Trent is allowed to get in behind from a brilliant pass from McAllister, then almost set up a goal for Liverpool. But this didn't happen just this one time. It happened quite a few times where Salah would actually be on the left-hand space of the box with Andy Robertson inside it with Diaz outside of it, and Jota would be on the right-hand side with Gravenberch and Trent Alexander-Arnold running into the box late. And this system is clearly made to give Trent as much space as possible to be able to make runs, to make passes, and if he's deeper, Salah will come and help him and make their runs for him. But if the ball is closer towards the box, Salah can still be effective anywhere inside the final third, so just get him into space where he can find the ball and Trent can make them runs back post. In this game, you can see by the stats how effective he was on the ball, with 6 progressive passes, 2 progressive carries, 3 progressive passes or carries received, so he's getting into them right attacking areas, and he had a threat of 0.42. Considering he was playing right back, that is an incredible amount. And you can see that his passes were from all around the pitch, not just necessarily from right back to right wing, which he's been done before. And the fact that he was able to have 11 long ball attempted, which he made 5 of them, and he had 2 successful dribbles and 9 passes into the final third, I think show the amount of involvement Trent had on the ball. And the more you get this guy the ball, the more good things will happen. He's one of the best technical abilities in the league, no doubt. While we know he is so good on the ball, I also want to quickly go through how good he was off the ball. Now, his pressing sometimes hasn't been the best over the last few years. I think it is in that inverted role. He hasn't really known when to go and when to stay. But it's quite clear in this setup that depending on what situation that he's in, if he's closer to the ball, he has to press intently. He was required to press intently a lot more than someone like Gravenberch, who was supposed to sit behind him. And because they had a system where Jota would go out wide to press to try and win the ball back, when they won the ball back, it actually put Trent in elevated areas so they can transition quickly, and he was in that sort of attacking midfield position rather than being down the wing because Jota and Salah were there at the time. And with the support of someone like Szoboszlai, McAllister and even Gravenberch, you kind of have a role where they can play off of Trent and work with him. It means that Trent doesn't have to put the complete effort in all the time to win the ball back, and he can float into attacking positions even when Liverpool don't have the ball because there is cover for him now. And although Trent was definitely playing an attacking role, I would say he made 1 block, 3 defensive actions, 2 recoveries and won 4 out of his 5 duels in the end, and the only one he lost was in area 1 anyway. So I think overall, if you can get this level of intent from him, if you can get him in the right positions, it's going to be the best he can play. And he isn't going to be the best defender in the world still, but as long as you can make sure them attacking numbers are incredible like they were this game, then you're not really worried too much, especially with the great performance of Gravenberch as well, who I will give credit to behind him. Now, I know there's been a lot of stuff about Trent, about him not being happy. It didn't seem like that way, but obviously that's all speculation. At the moment, he is playing incredibly well, and I think Arne Slot is somewhat getting the best out of him with the amount of space and pressure he's allowed to do. Let me know in the comments what you think of Trent and who I should do a video on next time for Liverpool. Please subscribe and thank you guys for watching.